Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by lifelong frenemy, a man that's been covering this industry for over a decade, now a writer for Sportskeeda, Mr. Robert Lentini himself. And Bob, let's jump right into it. A big weekend that was. A little bit happened in both promotions after the pay-per-view, but the biggest story was the pay-per-view of SummerSlam. Let's give a quick review. We're going to be talking about some of the bigger picture stuff in depth in a minute, but a lot of title changes on this pay-per-view, Bob.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just a wild show. There was 6 title matches, 7 matches in general. It led off with Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship.
Great
We'll
match.
talk about the betrayal, Dominic's betrayal in detail when we get to it, but overall great way to kick off the show. And when Rhea Ripley is now like one of the biggest baby faces in the entire company coming off of that angle. So hell of a way to kick off the show, but Liv Morgan retains as we
I thought
both
Liv
predicted.
Morgan held up her own. We're not going to talk about Liv Morgan too much in a little bit here. We're going to talk more of the Judgment Day side. I thought Liv Morgan held up her own in this match. I was really happy for her.
Yeah, she's I didn't think she was going to get another chance at being champion. You remember she won the SmackDown Women's Championship and had that rivalry with Ronda Rousey, and I thought that was it. She got another chance, and she's running with it. She's doing a great job. All right, let's move on to the second match of the night. It was the Intercontinental Championship match. Sami Zayn defended against Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker should have won the title at Money in the Bank. He demolished Zayn. Zayn got in about 2 moves of offense, and then Breaker just killed him, which is what should have happened at Money in the Bank, but I'm glad they did it here. And I hope he holds that title for like a year, like Gunther did, for over a year. Almost 2 years. But yeah, it was a good match, but it should have happened last month. That's all I have to say about that. Anything about Breaker winning the title?
Nope. I was bored to death. I barely watched it. Knew it was going to happen. Sorry. Keep going.
The next match, this is one of my favorite matches of the night, even though I can't stand one of the people involved. Logan Paul defended his United States Championship against LA Knight. Logan Paul hit an unbelievable springboard moonsault during this match that I've never seen. He already said on his podcast with The Undertaker he's never going to do that move again because of how dangerous it was. But this match was unbelievable, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. LA Knight, speaking of holding his own, you wouldn't think the veteran would have to hold his own against the new guy, but Logan Paul is that athletic. LA Knight kept up with him. He did an awesome elbow, jumping up from the middle rope to the top rope into an elbow drop during the match. Withstood Machine Gun Kelly's brass knuckles shot, whatever that bullshit was. Mr. Cleveland was Machine Gun Kelly, as we talked about last week. LA Knight withstood it and hit the blunt force trauma, finally capturing his first title in WWE in his 40s. He deserves it. He's had a long ass road to get here, and he deserved this title win. And I really enjoyed this match.
Nah, good for LA Knight, man. I just hate Logan Paul so much. He's only made himself worse over the past few weeks. If you haven't been paying attention to what he's been saying, that's your own prerogative. But even add on to the fact that he's suing a man on the internet because he exposed the Crypto Zoo scam. The guy's I can't say these words on YouTube how I truly feel about him. But again, can't take away from his wrestling ability. That was an excellent match.
And if you want to get into the ugly side of the business, that's why he's doing a suing storyline with LA Knight to bury that shit that he's actually getting sued for. So that's why I don't like him even more. He's a scumbag. Moving on. The WWE Women's Championship match. Bayley versus Nia Jax. Everybody's worst nightmare came true.
I picked it right, Bob. I picked it right. I had it right on the money, baby.
But one thing Nia Jax won the title, but one thing that's positive out of this, we all know now that Tiffany Stratton's winning that title within the next few months. That's the storyline. She's friends with Nia Jax. How they're going to do the betrayal. Is Stratton going to be the heel or the babyface? We'll see. I'm not really that invested in the storyline. I just want to get to Tiffany Stratton as champion, but this was the worst match of the night, easily.
Yeah, I will say I was very impressed with Bayley doing the powerbomb of Nia Jax. That was really impressive. Feat of strength moment. But as you said, with the next few months, we kind of know what's going to happen. It's going to be the longest few months that title reign's ever had.
Yeah, I agree. And then we get to the most anticipated, I think, match of the night, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with Seth Rollins as a special guest referee. Rollins, for some reason, decided to put the bracelet on his wrist. CM Punk threw a temper tantrum, cost himself the match. Punk hit Rollins with the GTS, turned around into a Claymore for McIntyre. 1, 2, 3. I thought this match was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was fine. It pushed it forward. And then with rumors and leaks that Bad Blood is Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, Hell in a Cell main event in October, I'm fine. These guys can fight in a backyard in Illinois and I'm tuning in. You know what I mean? Like these
Mhm.
guys, this feud can last forever. Seth Rollins obviously got ridden off TV with the attack by Bronson Reed on Raw.
Yep.
I think Rollins is still injured somehow. I think they're
Yep.
just really babying him, but yeah, the Punk looked good in his return to the ring. But it was a quick match. It was kind of a lot of talking, a lot of stalling, a lot of killing time. These guys aren't healthy yet, but it was fine for what it was. That was my review of that match. Then the right
If
person won, and Drew McIntyre. The right person won.
Yeah, the babyface. If you were into that feud, then you were into this match and you enjoyed it. If you
Yeah,
weren't into this feud, then you probably didn't enjoy this match. Again, as you said, it was fine.
yeah,
It was just fine, and I think that's all we're getting out of CM Punk these days. Next one.
yeah. And I mean, not, exceptional in terms of storytelling and drawing money. Fine in the ring, but moving on. Gunther faced Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight
Best
title.
match
This
of
is
the night.
yeah. Oh, well, I don't know. We'll
I
see.
think it was the best match of the night. I really enjoyed what these two guys did. As you
Yeah,
said, it built, we'll talk about Judgment Day in a second. It built
yeah,
Damian Priest to a level that we have not seen in a long, long time. I
yeah.
really enjoyed the Finn Balor angle. I really enjoyed Gunther beating the shit out of people, and I'm happy Gunther's champion. I thought it was the best match of the night.
Yeah, the only one thing I didn't like about it is like Gunther like needed someone to help him to win, like that little
Sure.
thing. Like, but
But it kind of
he's
protects Priest in a way too, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was overall it was very good, and we'll talk about the Judgment Day betrayal and some more about Damian Priest later. But after that, we got the main event.
Yeah, and let's
Cody
hold off
Rhodes.
on that because
Okay,
we're going to talk about the main event in a whole when it comes to the main card of this show. But I want to save that for something special at the end because it deserves it. Not Solo Sikoa, but the other part of it deserves
yeah.
it.
We'll just
But
I'll just
overall, out of all these
yeah,
matches,
Cody
these seven
Rhodes.
matches, so many title changes, Bob.
Yeah.
SummerSlam, rated. How did you feel about it? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you not enjoy yourself?
Oh, I thought it was a very good show overall. I enjoyed it through and through. I thought it just the whole show I was never bored, and that's the best thing you can say. Even during the Jax versus Bailey match, I wasn't really that bored. I just, the match sucked, but overall the entire show was great in my
Yeah.
opinion. What did you think of it?
No, I enjoyed myself too. There were some matches I would like to have back, but I did enjoy myself. It was a very WWE pay-per-view. A lot of storytelling, a lot of soap opera drama, but again, it paid off a lot of storylines that we were expecting to pay off, and I definitely enjoyed myself and enjoyed my time. But that's it for our SummerSlam review. And who knows what's next? Bad Blood, all the other pay-per-views we have coming down the line, the premium live events. But that's it for SummerSlam. Let's move on though to this week in wrestling and the main card of the week because we're staying with WWE as we hit the curtain jerker here. And it has to do with what opened the show. What curtain jerked SummerSlam is curtain jerking us right now. I'm probably saying that in a little bit too much of a PG-13 way. But hey, Rhea Ripley has been betrayed. Dom Mysterio is Dirty Dom once again. The Judgment Day ripped off at the Gunther line. Finn Balor, all Carlito, McDonough, all these guys have formed together to kick out the two top dogs, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, who are now baby faces. Bob, I gotta say, we've been invested in this storyline for months now with the Liv Morgan angle, who's gonna turn on who. Me and you went through 7 different scenarios on the last show trying to figure out and book what we thought was going to happen. And this was, relatively the simplest way to get there, but at the same way, I think all the fans are into. I think it has accomplished everything it set out to accomplish for all of the players involved. Everyone here is elevated by the past few months of the storyline, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. In particular, like I'll just touch on this real quick. Damian Priest has that World Heavyweight Championship reign been criticized by everyone, including myself. He came out looking like roses after this loss. Like the pop he got on Raw was the biggest reaction he's gotten ever in his career in WWE, and he's not champion. That's just good booking. You remove the title from him while giving him a hot angle, and Gunther can go on. He's fighting Randy
Yeah.
Orton at Bash in Berlin on August 31st. That's the next
They're fighting
premium
in
live
Berlin
event.
now. There's so many
Yeah.
premium live events. I'm sorry, Bub.
Yeah, I mean, it's stupid. It's dumb when you think about it. Randy Orton's on SmackDown. He's just coming over for this one match, so we know who's going to win. It's a glorified house show, as you've called it expertly. That's what those match shows are, but they're still entertaining. But overall, the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, I predicted in the headlines that last week that he's going to be the most hated man in WWE. I
You're
think
right.
that he did that. That was executed greatly. The kiss on the ramp, everything, it was just perfect. Rhea Ripley heartbroken in the ring. The camera shots, the production, everything was perfect. And we got Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, the Terror Twins, if you will, trying to take down the new version of the Judgment Day, which should be quite easy because besides like Finn Balor, it's fucking JD McDonough and Carlito. Like the group got a little thin, little top heavy with Liv Morgan and Balor. But
I
other
will
than
say
that,
that, I
yeah,
mean, who knows? They may add to it. There's plenty of people like Odyssey
yeah,
Jones waiting in the wing. But I have to say, those two, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest together as sort of a
yeah,
babyface duo, I'm all aboard, man. And I never
yeah.
thought I would be. I'm not the biggest fan of Damian Priest as a wrestler, but the way they've played this all, and you know the crowd's behind them too when you hear the crowd at these events. I'm all aboard these two being together, and I can't wait to see the future.
Yeah, me too. I think this storyline's gonna go on it should go on until like WrestleMania. This is
Yeah.
like a major, there's 14 different ways they can go with each of these, like where Ray Ripley's direction after this and Priest. But we'll see. I'm just looking forward to it. And I thought after all that hype and build of the Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, what's gonna happen, we finally got some answers and it paid off. It wasn't a letdown.
Still don't know what happened to the hotel room key. Don't think we ever
Yeah.
will. But again, happy with the way this all turned out. But that's enough about WWE. It's time to talk about AEW, their first segment on the main card of the weekend. And we're starting the mid card with it. And it's their biggest feud that they have going on. Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson, title versus legacy. And I thought the way they built this on Dynamite was fantastic, except for the use of JR. The first thing we saw was Swerve and JR having a little talk back and forth, a little planned interview edited to make Swerve look great. And he was kind of towing the line of babyface and heel in that interview. And I have to say, JR, you have had a Hall of Fame run, my friend. I think it's time to just go back to selling barbecue sauce and enjoy your final days on this lovely planet that we have. Every time he spoke during this, I was taken out of everything we were trying to build. However, I mention that to say we saw how great Swerve was when he came out at the end of the Danielson and Jeff Jarrett match and just verbally accosted Bryan Danielson over the microphone. Was 100 times more intimidating, 100 times more champion, 100 times more $1,000,000 when he was in the ring and not sitting behind a camera in a planned staged interview with JR. I don't know if that was JR who affected that, or if I don't know if Swerve was just more in it when he had the crowd around him chanting his name. I really enjoyed the final segment of Dynamite building towards this main event match that has me all in for it. And as for Jeff Jarrett, man, the dude played his part. You can talk about how Jeff Jarrett is 72 years old. He shouldn't be wrestling anymore. All that. You can not like Jeff Jarrett's career for what he's done in WCW and WWE. I'm not going to argue against it or for it. But what he did in this match, they were all over the whole arena throwing trash cans at each other. He comes out right at Bryan Danielson's entrance and hits him with the guitar and said, "I told you to be ready for this, be ready for anything," and starts beating him down. I really enjoyed the storytelling aspect of what everyone put on here. An A+ segment. And Bob, my question to you is, are you any more invested in this storyline? Because I know we both talked about we wanted Hangman in this spot. Are you any more invested that this is now the main event of their biggest pay-per-view of the year?
Well, they got me really invested last week when Bryan Danielson put his career on the line because he's one of my favorites. And Swerve Strickland, I thought I agree with your sentiments about the JR segment. It was really like uncomfortable was the word I would describe it. Whenever I was just really uncomfortable watching that. And but Swerve Strickland at this promo at the end of the night was great. And yeah, I am looking forward to this. I have no idea what's going to happen. That's the biggest compliment I can give a wrestling match. I have no idea who's going to win. I really, really, really want Bryan Danielson to win, and I love Swerve Strickland too, but I have no idea. So that's what I will say about this feud. They got me. I have completely either I'm losing one of the best wrestlers of our generation is retiring, or he's becoming champion. That's a hell of a storyline. And if it's Swerve wins, like he said, he gets to claim Bryan Danielson's legacy. That's a huge feather in the cap for Swerve Strickland if he wins. So there's a lot going on in this match. It feels like a main event worthy of Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, I agree. And the way Swerve said that, I get to claim your legacy. It really made me want Swerve win it. Like it made me want Swerve to win it. I don't know why I couldn't speak
Yeah.
English right there. And it's nothing against Bryan Danielson. He's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. I don't want him to retire. I want him to be around forever. But the fact that
Yeah.
you could give Bryan Danielson's legacy to Swerve and build him to this ultimate tippity top, I think it would be an awesome thing to do. I don't think they go that way, but I do think it would be wonderful to see.
Yeah.
Speaking of legacy, the second mid-card conversation we need to talk about is the apparent, hinted at, maybe it's not true, maybe it's just playing with us, Becky
Yeah.
Lynch retirement post. Bob, you want to walk us through what happened with Becky Lynch?
Yeah, I'll just well, she hasn't wrestled since May 27th. She lost to Liv Morgan in a steel cage match. Dominic screwed her over. And then she just disappeared from WWE television. Her contract expired. So everybody's like, well, is she going to AEW? We had a conversation. Like I said, it would be an excellent legacy move. Like we just said, like to have Becky Lynch go to AEW and build up that division to be better than the one she left behind in WWE. That's what I'm hoping for. Well, it turns out she could be retiring based on this post. Let me just read this to you and tell me if you think this is a retirement post. It's been a hell of a career. Right off the bat, my ears perked up. It's been a hell of a career. What? Being the man for all you is an honor. Being the mom for her is a privilege. Thank you for watching my bio. So she's on AEW TV. So she's promoting her little like WWE Legends biography documentary that aired on AEW Network. But it's been a hell of a career. Everybody lost their mind over that. I hope she's not retiring. I can't imagine she is. This is a negotiating tactic. Backstage, the WWE reports came out. Well, she can come back. They've never informed us that she was retiring. That was WWE's reaction. She never told us. She's welcome back. But we've never had a conversation. So something's going on there where she's not communicating with people like Trips backstage. And there's some kind of rift going on there. And this is a negotiating tactic, I think, to hint at retirement, have people lose their shit so WWE comes back with a bigger offer or something. I think that's what's going on. But what was your reaction to it? It's been a hell of a career by Becky Lynch.
Listen, I truly think it might be true because
It could be.
it's different. And again, retirement is different in the wrestling world. We know that.
Yeah.
To me, retirement means an extended leave of absence and more than just like a few months off.
Yeah,
Maybe
you're right. Yeah.
maybe she wants to do the family thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe
have
she
another
wants
kid
to
or
just
something.
get home and relax and raise her children, have more children. Like maybe that's the goal for her right now because we don't need to go into the biology of this whole thing, but women wrestlers and male
Yeah.
wrestlers have different shelf lives when it comes to real life
Yeah.
stuff. Seth Rollins can continue to have kids when he's 50 and 60 if he wanted to. Becky cannot.
Right.
So maybe she is taking a break and a step back and an elongated absence. And I thought it was a pretty genuine thing to say. And if it's a work, if it's a if she's playing us all, then well done by her. But I thought this was a pretty genuine opening up moment by Becky Lynch. And again, I would love to see her in AEW for all the reasons we talked about in past episodes. But this kind of made me think she's going to be gone for a long time. And good for her, man. Good for her riding off into the sunset on her own accord. Not many people can say that. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I think.
No, I think you're right. And like I said, like I've said this a bunch of times, like go like Jericho, go away for a while. You come back, people won't hate you as much. People are getting a little sick of Lynch. There was no like she lost at WrestleMania, and then she just was handed the title because Rhea Ripley got injured. I think that whole thing, people got a little sick of her. I think she takes a break, she'll come back a bigger star than ever if she comes back in a year or 6 months, whenever.
And maybe she'll come back to AEW because AEW has yet another new show that they're going to have on television. That's our third mid-card segment. Bob, I was amazed, aghast, I think is the right word, when I saw the preview for this show on the TNT TBS slate of networks. And we're going to talk about this, not only the new show and how stupid it is, but also when it comes to the brand deal, which is a whole nother thing we need to talk about. But have you heard of TNT Overdrive, Bob?
No. It sounds like some dumbass reality show that you're about to tell me about that I'm going to get really pissed off about.
TNT Overdrive will debut. I'm reading this from TNT Overdrive. TNT Overdrive will debut 10 p.m. Eastern after AEW Collision. So AEW Collision is the lead up into this show. It's featuring talent from the pro wrestling promotion AEW, presenting footage of car crashes, chases, and extreme sports. Now, this is from Awful announcing. A description on the cable channel's website describes the show as follows. TNT Overdrive will bring adrenaline junkies a collection of the most thrilling moments and exclusive stories from AEW wrestlers Saturdays following Collision. Bob, It's a clip show of car crashes where Will Ospreay and Willow Nightingale are introing and outroing the segments. What if you're at Warner Brothers right now and you're trying to build your slate of shows, how fucking bottom of the barrel is that? I was amazed. I was amazed that we're watching. This is what you see on like internet television when an internet website is trying to become a media company. They buy the rights to like car jujitsu and show that live, and it's like, well, we're the only place that has this, and we're gonna have Randy Couture come out and intro it for
Yeah.
us. What the fuck is going on with WB and AEW right now? I'd be ashamed if I was asked to do this. How does this make you feel, though?
It's just like remember like when Spike TV when
Yes.
WWE was on that shitty network. This is like a show that would come on right after Slam Ball that I would turn off immediately. Like that sounds awful. Like
Yes.
that is worse than I expected. I thought there was gonna be another one of those like behind the scenes at
Nope.
AEW. I was worried when you said the new show was gonna be like behind the scenes of just following Tony Khan around for an hour.
I'd be
That would
more
be a disaster.
interested in that.
I would be too, just to see what the hell actually goes on. But yeah, that's pathetic. That's just, I mean, it's just the only one that it would work for is if Darby Allin hosted it. Then I'd be fine. If it was just Darby Allin show, I'd tune in.
It's not even from the preview. It's not even like someone's in studio hosting. It's like they took Will Ospreay to the side of the building and said, "Hey, can you say and now check this out?" And that's
you're
the
kidding
whole
me.
entire thing.
Oh, it's not even like a setup, like a show. It looks like a piece of shit YouTube thing, basically.
Yes. Go look at the preview.
God.
The Acclaimed are just standing in a dimly lit hallway going like, not gonna believe what we show you next. That's what it is. And then it's stock footage of car crashes at extreme sports that you probably saw 8 months ago if you were interested in that stuff. It's so lowest common denominator that it frankly diminishes everything about AEW. And that's what makes me mad about it, because I am the AEW fan. I want them to succeed. And this right here, the reason why I want to talk about a bigger picture is this has to be some sort of negotiating ploy, or like they were asked to do this, AEW, and Tony Khan bent himself over backwards to say yes to it because he wants that WB money that they're dangling over their heads for this new TV deal. The negotiating window between AEW and Warner Brothers has ended, just like it happened with basketball and TNT. It has ended. And yet AEW still does not have a new deal. It finishes at the end of the year, their deal with Warner Brothers, and now they're having this new show on TNT Overdrive. Check it out. I don't know what's going on, Bob, but do you have any inkling on what the future holds here for AEW and Warner Brothers?
Well, geez, I'd hope that they're going to sign a new deal if they're going to embarrass themselves like this. If it's as bad as you're describing, well, I'm going to have to check this out the second we end the thing. I'm going to have to look at this preview. If it's literally just them like standing in hallways and shit, like backstage, that's so embarrassing. And no, it sucks. This feels hokey. It feels like this isn't the alternative I was looking for when they launched this. I didn't want Ric Flair woo energy drinks, in my face. I don't want this bullshit. It's just a stupid show. That sounds like a show I would never tune in. I will never see an episode of that in my life. I'll never remember when it airs. I don't watch Collision live. Nobody does anymore. So like, what a lead-in. Like Collision and then this shit reality show on a Saturday night. Most people, find something else better to do on your Saturday night than sit there and watch Collision and fucking Overdrive or whatever the hell it's
called.
Followed
by Chris Lee Knows Best.
Yeah, Chris Angel's Best Magic Tricks or whatever the fuck. Like, that's just like bullshit network. I feel like a poker tournament coming on from 5 years ago after at 10:30. Like, this is terrible. That's awful. Oh my God.
Yep, that's TNT Overdrive for you. The last thing we want to talk about, though, is the main event. I know we're going long on this show. The main event, however, is important. We didn't talk about it during our SummerSlam review because it's so important we had to leave it to the side. Bob, we all knew Roman Reigns was coming back. As soon as Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes were put in the main event of SummerSlam, we knew Reigns was going to be the reason. We were a little bit worried that it was going to be just an Uso coming back. No. It's King Uso. It's Roman Reigns himself. And I got to say, Bob, with everything that happens and what we're moving forward to, how much I'm not really enjoying the Solo Sikoa character and all that jazz, I have to say, man, It's rare in WWE or AEW you get a pop like the pop that Roman Reigns got. Even though we all knew it was happening, that pop still, when his music hit, shitty ass music, by the way, but when his
Oh yeah.
music hit, that pop was magical. And that's why we had to put him in the main event, because that moment was magical. How did you think that was pulled off?
Oh, I thought that was my favorite match of the night. When we were talking about the review, you had the Gunther Priest. This was my favorite. I like the Bloodline rules. I liked how it was all done. It's a little hokey to have just the Tamatanga and the heels don't get the entrance music, but Kevin Owens, Randy Orton all get to walk down and like have a full entrance, or the Bloodline has to scurry in through the crowd. That was a little stupid, but overall, Roman Reigns' return is huge. It's just an epic. Cody Rhodes doesn't have to feud with the Bloodline anymore. He can go on to feud with whoever. But Roman Reigns, this will help make Solo Sikoa better. And I can't believe that after all these years, he's going to get that babyface run he was desperately trying for. They were trying for years and years, shoving it down their throats. You turn him heel, put him with Paul Heyman, have one of the greatest storylines of all time, and it leads to this. Everybody was on their feet in that arena. The whole Cleveland Browns stadium lost their mind at that moment. I was going crazy, and I didn't even like Roman Reigns like a year and a half ago. I was like, he's just his character, the tribal chief character. This whole Bloodline storyline is just lightning in a bottle, magic. It's changed the entire wrestling industry. WWE specifically brought it to a height that it's unbelievable how popular they are right now. I did not see it coming, and it's mainly because of Roman Reigns. So he deserved that pop. He deserved that reaction. He's earned it.
Do you think there is a world where next year, main event, WrestleMania, it's not Cody Rhodes and The Rock, but we do get Roman versus The Rock, and Roman rides
Yeah.
this babyface train all the way to WrestleMania to face the final boss on Solo Sikoa's side of the bloodline,
Yep.
Rock versus Roman. Because I genuinely think that's where we're going, and it's a long road to get there. That would take a long time to get there. But I do think the
Well,
power of that return pop and that babyface move by Roman, I genuinely think we have enough steam to get us there.
Well, yeah, the final boss character is like one of the greatest heels I've ever seen against Roman Reigns. This version of Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, that's pretty huge. And then if you do original Bloodline, if you get the Usos back with Roman and do some kind of War Games match at Survivor Series against the Bloodline, that's another thing. Or at Bad Blood. Whenever there's 40,000 premium live events, they're going to do something at one of them. But yeah, they should drag this out. They could do the Rock and Roman Reigns promos all over. The Rock trading words with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. And yes, to answer your question simply, yes, they can drag this out to WrestleMania. They could drag it out for WrestleMania and then the next year have a rematch. That's how invested I am in The Rock, Roman Reigns. But I think The Rock eventually will be babyface too by like next year. But for this perfect final boss, they need to do this at WrestleMania. Yes.
And
They
that
can
is
drag it
it
out
for
as
the
long as they
main.
want.
That is it for the main card this week, the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. Let's move on to the gimmicks of the week. First one, we just talked about it, the return of the week, the pop of the week, the welcome back of the week. It's Roman Reigns. Again, Bob, that pop was magic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's just, we've already talked about it, but we're talking about it again real quickly. Just one of the biggest stars in WWE ever has returned, and that pop was legendary. And what it means for the future, the Bloodline storyline is The Rock coming back in the next few weeks. Just an epic moment. So Roman Reigns gets the return of the week.
The jobber of the week is actually plural. Jobbers of the week. We had one of my favorite, just a favorite monster gimmick match for me is the 2-on-1, where the one is just this ugly ass huge heel, and I shouldn't say ugly, you know what I mean? This crazy, big, threatening monster, and then two just absolute scrubs. It's a great squash match gimmick, and we had it on AEW. What were the two names, Bob?
The ladies' names were Jasmine Had, Jazmine Had, just HAD had as the last name, and Clara Carter. Jasmine Had looked like she woke up 12 minutes ago before the match. I was looking at her here. She looks stoned. It's unbelievable how she looks. And Clara Carter is just really enthusiastic to be there. So something like a pothead who couldn't give a shit, and Clara Carter.
Great. It's great.
Yeah.
I love jobber matches, and those two get to be the
Yeah.
first jobbers to share their jobber of the week status. Good them. Mankind moment of the week. This is the moment, the spot of the week where we think it's a little bit too iffy. And Bob, you had this one personally. What happened to you?
Well, yeah, I was a total Mark idiot during SummerSlam. I thought Rhea Ripley ruined her shoulder during the first match back. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Half the match, I'm like stressed out. Like, this is what a disaster. They've been building this forever. No, it was just a planned spot. And then she slammed. It looked awesome. She slammed her shoulder back into place on the announce table. It was all staged, but I was like, oh my God, like, for like a good 10 minutes, I was like, how are they going to recover from this? There's so much invested in this storyline. Like, I wasn't even watching the match. I had to watch it back. I was just so dejected. So they got me. I'm an idiot. So Mankind spot of the week. I don't know if that's the correct gimmick name. Maybe Bob's an idiot.
Yeah, it might be the it's still real to me, damn it, spot of the week.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, it's we got to bring that back. Holy shit.
We do have to bring that back. But either way, they got Bob. Let's go for debut of the week. Bob, who the fuck is Odyssey Jones?
Odyssey Jones is a giant man who was drafted in 2023, not 2024. He was drafted to Raw in 2023. Never made an appearance ever for the full year. They redrafted him again, like we were just had amnesia. Like we just like we all forgot that he was drafted last year. They drafted him again to Raw this year, and he didn't show up until August. And he's with the New Day because Big E's injured. So he's the newest member of the New Day. He's helping them against the Final fucking Testament, that damn rivalry that will never end. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Odyssey Jones was drafted by WWE Raw in April 2023, and he makes his debut on August whatever 2024. He's going to be a big star, though. He's going to be huge. But what a big star this guy will be.
Welcome
Jesus
back,
Christ.
Odyssey. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Big E's been injured for a long time, and Odyssey just now is joining the New Day.
I don't understand it. I got nothing to. I have no explanation. It doesn't make sense. He's just been sitting backstage and catering for a year and a half, and here he is. That's
good for him, man. I wish him all the luck in the world. Get well soon of the week. I don't want to end on a downer, but the get well soon of the week. It looked like Jacob Fatu legitimately injured himself.
Yeah, it's rumored not to be serious, but I don't know what that means. They just won the WWE Tag Team Championship, so hopefully he's back soon. And also an honorable. He was in a walking boot. That's all I know about Jacob Fatu. An honorable mention, or just whatever, however you want to phrase it. Dakota Kai's also injured, so that sucks. I don't know much about her, but she's injured, and I think Rollins is injured too. But we'll just Fatu and Kai get well soon of the week for this week's episode.
All right, that is it for the gimmicks of the week. Let's end with headlines of the week, where we predict what the world of wrestling is going to be talking about at this point next week. Bob, you were right on the money with WWE last week. What do you got for this week, my friend?
Well, I got nothing. I'm going to make it up now as usual. I'm thinking Paul Heyman is coming back tomorrow night. We're recording this Thursday. I'm thinking we're getting Paul Heyman returning with Roman Reigns tomorrow, and then I've been waiting for Paul to hear what Paul Heyman has to say. He got attacked by the Bloodline. There could be another swerve coming too, where Paul Heyman is not fully back with Roman Reigns and is pissed off that he hasn't heard from him since WrestleMania, because he allowed him to get the shit kicked out of him during his hiatus. We'll see, but I think Paul Heyman's finally returning tomorrow night. That's just a prediction because I didn't have a headline because I suck at this. You?
My headline for AEW is, at this point next week, we are just throwing ourselves at the feet of Warner Brothers for the genius that is TNT Overdrive. And that is it for the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. My name's Tony Squares. That's Robert Lentini. Join us next week when we talk about whatever is going on in the world of wrestling. Maybe Becky Lynch is back. Maybe Britt Baker appears. Who knows? But that is it. And let's now finish the show and checking in this week in Ryback.